exploding kittens. Now I know that sounds ridiculous, right? But nothing brings people together like playing a game where literally the purpose is to blow each other up, right? Because of course, when you try to kill someone, it brings you together. It makes you bond, right? And that's the purpose of that game. And so going and playing late at night, you know, even if it's quiet hours, we're quiet, of course, but being very excited and having energy and playing that game with each other, we all really, really get to know each other on a deep, deep spiritual level, right? The next thing we do is ye olde watering hole, right? The watering fountain is the place where you go to look for love, for life, for friendships, for whatever you need. That is the place where I've gotten to know some of the quieter residents, the ones who don't come out of the room much, you know? But everyone needs water, you know? H2O is a key to life. And that's where I've really gotten to know people on a very superficial level. But you know, you gotta start somewhere with everyone, right? And the next one's a little bit more illogical, right? Keeping my door open. You know, there was a resident in the beginning of the year, he still does it, but he would walk by and he'd just yell, Peter, right? Because that's my name, of course. And if I'm being entirely honest, I didn't know his name for a good 2 weeks, right? And so I would just go, yeah, hey, right? Because my desk doesn't face outward, so I had no idea who was saying it, right? But eventually I learned it was Philip and Steve, and they were both doing it, and so it was throwing me off, right? But they're roommates, so I think they were coordinating something. But keeping your door open is such a great way to just invite those kind of relationships. And it means people also feel like you're just around, you know? Because even if you're not out and about, if you're just having your door open, people know that you're there. You're there to talk to you in whatever thing that they need you for. I say good morning all throughout the day, just because I feel like when you say good morning, it means you get to start fresh, you know? And so even if it's 9 p.m. at night, if someone's staying up till 1 a.m. and they get to start fresh at 9 p.m., all that tiredness and all that stuff goes away, and they just get to start anew, right? Now, a more ridiculous one that's obvious, but I live with one of my residents, right? And so living with one, you really get to know them on a personal level, right? Because you see when they stay up and when they get stressed out, you see all the different aspects of it. And so literally living with my roommate, you know, you get to know them in a different way than you would any other your residents. I live in West AJ, and so here we have events all the time, which makes my job a little bit easier, just because I can just be like, hey, they're serving random, you know, like pumpkin events where you go and you paint a pumpkin in the crossover kitchen. We should go. And then literally I'll grab a couple of residents and we'll just walk down. We'll just do that together for a couple of minutes. And, you know, it's a good way to build up that bond and that trust a little bit more. And then, you know, naturally in West AJ, I don't know how it is in other halls, but people just like to sit in the middle of the hall and they just hang out, you know, like, because they took away some of our lounges. And so if the lounges are taken, the only other place to go is a room or the lounge or the hall. And so we'll just go into the middle of the hall and we'll just hang out. We'll have a good time and we just kind of talk about life. Sometimes people are doing schoolwork. Sometimes they're doing course requests or whatever things are stressing them out. And sometimes we're just there just talking about whatever is happening in our life. Now the next one is ridiculous, but fire alarms. Fire alarms bring people together in a way like nothing else. Because if you can unite against a common enemy, that enemy being the fire alarm that's going off in the middle of the night or during a study week or, you know, whatever, you really bring people together, right? So all standing out, huddled up in the cold and shivering and stuff. That's been a way that I've gotten to just walk around and meet some of the residents that have been wanting to get to know, but really struggling to reach out to, you know, just because some people are just a little bit more quiet and reserved, but like, you know, it's literally a felony for them to stay in there, so that everybody's coming out, right? One other thing I personally love doing is meeting people in the elevator. I got put on the 7th floor, right? And so I didn't think I was gonna love it, but personally, like, going up 7 flights of stairs is not great for me. I'm just not personally a fan. And so I'll go in the elevator, and even when I want to just whip out my phone and just like do nothing on it, you know, I just look over to the person next to me and I meet a random resident. You know, there's 900 people in the building, but you know, one by one, every single elevator ride, I meet someone, and eventually you start to see people that you already know. And so I feel like that is a really good way to get to know like my residents and the other people, you know, in the building, because, you know, although they're not in my hall, you still want to get to know residents all throughout the building. I'm also I was a math tutor the past year. I worked at Deeds, so I've got a lot of job experience all throughout campus. And so tutoring specifically, I love just teaching math. Like math is like a passion of mine. I believe, math is God's language. And so just tutoring my residents when they're stressed out about a calc test that's coming up, I'm like, yeah, I can help you out with this. Like I did this 2 years ago, but like, I'm still taking math, and so I got you, and then with the RA job, of course, you have some late night crises that happen or roommate conflicts, and so of course you're gonna come to know people that way. But that's kind of a given. I've had a couple of those already, but that's kind of a given. You kind of expect those. That's not very different. I would say the last thing is a little awkward, but dealing with body spills when a resident comes up and they're like, yeah, there's an awkward body spill, and you gotta, you let them leave and you gotta go handle that. But like the awkwardness, right? When you can handle an awkward situation and be not uncomfortable, it eventually just brings you and that resident together. And, unfortunately that's happened more than once. So I think that awkward body spills, although they're strange and weird to deal with, they do bring people together. And so I just think those are a couple of ways that I've really, really gotten to know my residents and really made my presence here on the hall known. And because I can't do my job if people don't know me, because then they're not going to feel comfortable to reach out to me. And so that's really how I've done my best to let them know me and get to know them in return.